Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today, we are talking about challenging relationships. Have you ever had a relationship with somebody and it is just difficult? It is not easy. What does that have to do with their aura color? We're going to get real deep into that. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. Well, the good news for me is people have told me that I am so go with the flow.
Oh, yeah.
I am the easiest person
Right.
to get along with.
Right.
They're like, they just walk up to me and say, sometimes people just walk up to me. They're like, you are so easy to be around. Your energy is so calming. You're so.
Where does this happen?
I play, places like wherever I go.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I,
I've never seen it, but I'll trust you.
Yeah.
I'll trust you.
All right. So let's start with the reds.
Okay.
I mean, that could be a challenge, right?
Yeah,
dealing with the red.
Red auras. Okay. I mean, I feel like you picked the strongest one. I would say, like, with reds, my personal relationship with reds is they're very upfront.
Right.
And they immediately think they're correct. So I would say that's probably the hardest part about dealing with them. Now, intention is separate from energy color. You know, I always say auras aren't excuses, but they can explain behavior. So it always depends on someone's intention. But I notice if we're talking generally, they always think they're right, which can be challenging to deal with.
I mean, I'm a red.
Yeah. And you always think you're right. No, you do.
I do. Well, because I could always use logic to defend my point.
Yeah. Like, why do you know you're so right, though? You know?
Because it's because I've thought it out logically and I know it's right.
See, yeah. And every red, think about other reds you deal with in your life, okay? Like, I won't name names in the family, but have you noticed that when you're dealing with that person, they think they're dealing with logic too, and you just don't agree with their logic sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, that could be true, but I don't think so. I think they're illogical.
They're illogical. You're the only logical red.
I'm one of the only illogical reds. That's right.
You just proved my case.
That's right. Well, yeah. No, I understand. Like, I can see where in all honesty, I can see where dealing with the red is difficult and can be challenging. And they do usually think they're right.
A big one I get is like red bosses.
Yeah.
Like, how do I deal with my red boss? Because they're always in management somehow. And it's like, listen, I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but my tip is it has to be their idea. Let them think it's their idea. Like you can't step on their toes. You have to let them talk first. Now, are all these things healthy? I don't know. It really depends on the situation. But sometimes you got to let them kind of have their room before you cut them off before they speak. The second they feel controlled, it's like, it's over. That's what I.
Sure. What about when you put like a bunch of reds together? Like we got like, you got like 5 red guys.
Yeah.
Like that sometimes does work.
It does.
Yeah. Because like there's kind of maybe like a little bit of a pecking order. And as long as you can kind of take a joke, usually you're okay in that.
Yeah. If you have a bunch of red people, I think it might be some time and they decide on a communal logic that's correct.
Right. Right.
And they're like, this is the communal logic, which is correct. And then everybody will just fall back onto that if there's a disagreement and then come out of it because they've,
Yeah, that's good. And I feel like we're going to do all the colors. We're going to go through all 8 colors. And I feel we'll spend the most time on red. Okay. Let's go to purple.
I would say purples are very, if you're going to say why are purples challenging, I would be because you can't fool them. They do pick up on every nuance. And again, depending on the intention, they can sometimes use information later. They are good at moving the opinion of a crowd, a friend group around. They can definitely say the thing that they know is going to get one person to start thinking different. They're very, I guess, good at moving things, kind of moving opinion. I don't want to say manipulation. That's what I'm like trying to know. And I'm purple myself, so I feel like I know what to say in sometimes like family situations or friend situations. I'll know the thing that's going to get you to change your mind. I'll be like, hey, okay, but look at it this way. Or did you know that this just happened? Or, okay, to your point, now this. Like, I'm just like, purples are very quick at like, okay, I hear everything you're saying and I know how you think. Now, how about this? And so they can be difficult to deal with because they got a bag of tricks.
Okay.
They always got a bag of tricks and they never stop. So they're quick at like maneuvering or pivoting or, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, like a red dealing with a difficult purple. like just using because I'm red.
Yeah.
Because the red's going to come at you straight forward. Yes. They're going to tell you exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. And then the purple could go, like maybe what you're saying is behind the back.
Yeah, they can like weave around it. They can be like, okay, they can say one thing and mean it, but then also kind of sit on it for a while and be like, And I'm only talking about challenging relationships with the purple. Sometimes a challenging relationship with the purple involves like they're petty, or they're gonna gossip, or they're gonna sour something.
Okay.
And they can be good at that if their intentions are leaning towards that way.
All right. What if you're dealing with a difficult, challenging yellow?
Dealing with a difficult, challenging yellow. I mean, I think yellows. This is what my experience with yellows is that kind of like the red, they usually think they're correct and they move very quick. And usually if they're a difficult yellow, it has something to do with them having what I call an I told you so yellow shade. So nothing's real if it doesn't fit into my reality. So usually they have some sort of, this is how things work and this is how it's going to go. They've already thought ahead of how the situation's going to go, what it's going to look like, A to Z, every step. And if you come into that with throwing a wrench, you don't exist. So they're real good at shutting things out, shutting things down, breezing past you, and they're really good at organizing it so that you don't even know what's happening, and people around them tend to get caught up in it. So I would say yellows are they thought about it way more than you did, and they planned for it way better.
Yes, I agree with that, and that's why as a red, yellow was probably the most difficult color for me if I was going to get into like some sort of relationship with. Because yes, they've plotted every point. So like when you give them that logic point where you say, "Oh, I do it this way," they're going to come back and say, "Well, if you just do it this way," and logically they make sense.
Yeah,
like they'll give you the advice. Like a yellow will give some great advice sometimes. Like yellows will give me some advice, and it's great advice.
Yeah,
but I just don't. And it probably makes much more sense to do it the way they're saying.
Right.
But I don't want to do it that way.
That would be, I think like a yellow that you're having a difficult relationship with, they don't get stuck on things that other people get stuck on.
Yeah.
So if something makes sense to them, they just move towards it.
Yeah.
They don't sit, like yellows don't sit in things. But I will say that if you're dealing with a difficult one, usually they don't take advice themselves. I told you so yellow. It's like you don't exist if you're not in the plan.
Yeah. It's hard to tell them, like, because like I don't even know how to tell them, like, you're right. That makes the most sense, but I just don't want to do it that way.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. All right, let's go to the blues.
I would say blue auras are challenging because they take things so personally. So if you're dealing with a blue and it's a difficult situation with a blue, they can victimize and I've talked about victim blue, they can victimize very quickly. So if you just say something like, "Hey, can you come over at 4 instead of 2?" It's like, "Oh my God, I'm not allowed over. Wow." Like little things like that. Like I knew everybody hated me, or if they offer to do something and you're like, "Actually, no, Sheila's taking care of that. You don't have to." Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. I see where I know when I'm not wanted, like that.
Yeah.
And so they can take things so personal. So if they're in a bad space with it or they're going through something and it's like, they're so touchy, and you just kind of want to, you don't want to tiptoe around them all the time. So that can be challenging when dealing with they're very sensitive. And then their sensitivity can turn into like rage, like very like rage towards everybody, like you.
Right.
So that can be hard.
Well, yeah. And I'm blue too. And I do have these moments.
Do you relate to that?
Yeah. More now so than years ago, but I do sometimes. Like you call me out on it. I think you call me out. Sometimes I do get like what you call victim blue.
Victim blue.
And I'll go into the whole thing and be like, I'm dealing with the 3 girls. I'm trying to make everything right.
Yeah.
Then, it's not working out. I can't fix it. I mean, what was that mantra you gave me?
We have a mantra like, I can't fix everything.
Right. My new mantra, I say to myself, I can't fix everything.
It's not your role. You don't have to fix everything.
So I say that to myself in my head.
Yeah.
And then, and I let you guys do whatever you do. And I just try not to fix it. Cause I think you probably would actually prefer me to be the red, right? You'd actually prefer me to like do a red fight than a blue fight.
Yeah.
If we were in getting not a physical fight. I mean like an argument.
You just took that all.
Yeah.
You're so funny.
I know. You'd prefer that like I fight red than fight blue.
I'd rather you just be like kind of like you're loud and grumpy
right, loud grumpy
versus like boo hoo you.
Yeah.
Because it's like stop. I don't know. I'd rather you feel like grumpy you.
I gotcha. Okay.
But that's a personal preference.
Right.
Like other people might have a different preference, you know.
All right. Indigo.
I think indigo's difficult to deal with because they disappear. They just poof by, and blue indigos are going to do the blue plus indigo thing. But indigos disappear, you know, and they can be difficult to deal with because you want to have a conversation or you want to like hash something out, and they'd prefer just to disappear for a few months, have that brushed under the rug, and just move on. Okay, you know, like that. So I feel like they can't. Indigos are so adept at dealing with energy without speaking to it that they're already going to hash it out with them. It's better if you leave them alone to deal with it themselves.
Yes.
They'll get over it. They'll come to their own conclusions. They'll move on, and then they'll be fine later. But the problem on the opposite end of that is you're like, why aren't they returning my phone calls? Like, why'd they disappear? Like, why can't they just have they're so non-confrontational. Like, what the heck, man? Like that.
Well, yeah. And you live with an indigo, so I know exactly how to deal with a challenging indigo.
That's me.
And yes, that's exactly what you do. After you let them have the space.
Yeah.
You let them go watch a rerun of Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
And then after that rerun's over, they usually come and they seek you out.
Yes.
And they find you, and then they will just like cuddle with you and say, it's over now.
Yeah.
And
it is. You just have to let it go.
Right. Now, that's okay if you live with someone. But I could see if maybe you don't live with them and they're like a friend and they don't have that opportunity after they finish watching Vampire Diaries to come and see you, then they might just ghost you.
Yeah, they ghost. Okay. They kind of do like a semi-ghost or like the Indighost, but sometimes they do it just a temporary. But it's got to be annoying. Okay. I can see that.
All right. A difficult green.
Greens are difficult. A challenging, difficult relationship with the green includes them not really caring. You know, they can really put a wall up and separate. Sometimes you feel like you can be Control Alt Delete from their life like that. Is that it? Like you just like they took you, they pressed delete, you're gone. That is how easily it can feel when a green aura doesn't want to deal with it anymore or talk about it or confront something or get into it with you, or you think this way, I think this way, but I'm not gonna even talk to you about it. They can really just delete. And you feel it on the opposite end. You're like, was I just deleted? A little bit. And also, I think greens, that's extreme. But also a green aura situation can just be, I always call it like the 10 commandments of the green. Like they really, again, I think it's the logic colors all think they're right. They just all think they're right in different ways. Yeah. But the green auras think they're right. But there's no kind of like leeway with it. Like I feel like a red you can argue with a little bit. A yellow you can argue a little bit with it. Greens you can't.
No, yeah, I find that too. If with a difficult green, like I'll just be talking about X, they're talking about Y, and it never merges to where the X will equal the Y. Like, does that make sense? Like, it's just like I'm just like I'll argue a point logically, but like in their mind, it doesn't.
They're not even hearing it.
They don't even hear it because they think this way. Right. Like they don't even see the way of thinking.
It's like speaking Greek.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like speaking
that.
two languages.
Yeah, at the same time. Or I have this one green in my life and he's very difficult to deal with because I'll be like, okay, he can't pivot to different points. So it's like, he'll talk about what he wants to talk about. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, now here are my things, but my things don't count. Okay. Right. Because he can only think about what he thinks is important. Right. Like the things that I think are important. Nope. Like that. It's So it's like, if it's in their vision of what matters today, correct, they'll talk about it. If it doesn't, it like can't exist.
Exactly.
So you don't always feel validated with a difficult green.
Yeah, I don't mind it so much. Like whereas the yellow, I mind it a little more because like the green, I just like laugh it off. Like okay,
yellows are gonna try to fix you and get you on board, and a green's just like shrug.
Right. One of my favorite colors to deal with is the turquoise.
Oh, the Turks.
Yes, we have our purple turquoise app.
We do. Why are the turquoises difficulty? I feel like in a challenging turquoise, like they do have a hard time. They have a hard time when I talk about things like not getting closure, they're gonna like push and push and push and push and push and push. Like what do you want? Do you want somebody to blow up at you? Like, do you want somebody to say, Yeah, you're right. Like, what do you want? Like that. Sometimes they can't take a hint, I think. So they kind of keep coming back for more. And until they get kind of a reaction that maybe isn't kind or isn't socially acceptable or is like the extreme, but they'll push a bit. I do feel like that can be hard with dealing with the turquoise because it's like, oh my God, they're not going to let this go. Holy crap, they're never going to let this go.
Right.
Like this will just be forever and ever. And then I do think turquoises, in when you have a difficult relationship with one, it can be hard for them to sometimes have personal responsibility, or if they take personal responsibility, now it's your turn, and now you have to do it too.
Right.
So it can feel a little bit like, now I said that sorry for this. Now what are you sorry for? And if you truly are the one that's like, no, it was you, that can be really annoying. So I think that can be like the turquoise problem a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I also find that turquoises have a system of logic and they view things that just do not make any sense logically to me. Like we're just not in the way the green does, but like, let's say you took a topic like UFOs or whatever, or even the crystal stuff, but I've learned to accept that. And I've learned to go and embrace it.
Okay.
And like, I like to hear about it.
Yeah.
And I like to say, oh, that's great. That's wonderful. And then I just let it go. So I don't even argue it with it. I'm not going to argue it with the turquoise.
No, you don't want to argue with the turquoise. But also, I think that sometimes you're right. Their logic is from different planes.
Yes.
They're from different thought patterns that aren't so accepted by the collective consciousness. Right. And that doesn't make them wrong.
No.
And so I don't mind that kind of stuff from them, but that does trigger a lot of people.
It does, yeah. And it used to me, but now that I understand it, I'm just like, oh, okay, this is how they think.
Yeah,
I'll just hear them out. I don't have to agree with it.
Right.
I'll just listen to it, and I'm not going to try to argue it.
Yeah, they're very open to a lot of different perspectives.
Right.
Which is impossible for them not to be because they are so boundaryless with their energy.
Really, yeah. I do find turquoises fascinating.
Yeah, they will talk about anything.
Yeah.
And they will withhold judgment as they do it.
Yep. All right, the last one is pink. And if you don't know that you're dealing with a pink and you're a red or a logic color, I assume that's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
But once you understand that they're a pink, it all makes sense. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Because they're pink.
Last night I went for dinner with some of my friends and the waitress was so pink. And usually I don't do this, but I had to tell her that she was pink.
Right.
And immediately she's like, I feel that, like in her. But what's crazy was like her manager was getting on her and he was like, you could tell the manager didn't understand she was pink, obviously, because what does that mean? It means that she was like fun and bubbly and having fun with everybody and kind of like she was getting her work done just like in her own way,
right,
And actually she was a very attentive server. She was really great at what she did, but she just kind of didn't look like she was, if that makes sense, So I think the difficult part of dealing with a pink is letting them just do it their way, and you have to trust that they're getting it done because it usually looks like they're not doing anything, but I promise they are.
Right.
They just have like their own kind of like way of doing it, and it's very easy to kind of like fall back into like judgment or like what the frick is that? Like what are you doing? Like if we're all trying to follow the same kind of timeline or the same kind of order of operations, I think pinks can be challenging because they don't follow those things, but they'll still get the task completed.
Yeah. No, for me, just knowing they're pink, I now give them the pass. I'm like, if someone just came up to me and just like, I'm pink, Aura. I'm like, okay, fine. I've given you a pass. Do what you got to do. It's the pink pass. I give them the pink pass.
Oh, you made that up.
I made that up.
That's good.
It's the pink
pass. The pink pass.
You get the pink from a red. Like,
right.
Because honestly, a red dealing with a pink, a relationship, like a marriage or something, I think would probably be very difficult because the red might be like, what the heck are you doing all the time?
You'd have to give him a pink pass.
And never understand it. But pink, I give you the pink pass.
Right.
So the pink pass is, I know you're pink. That's how you do things.
Yeah.
And I love it. Good for you.
I think the other thing with pinks is in a challenging situation is I always call it the I can't hear you game. Like, like when you were a kid and if you had a sibling, you'd be like, what is that noise? I can't hear you. Is that a dog barking? That horrible game. If you have a sibling, they did it to you. That's what pinks can do. Like they can be like, as soon as they don't want to hear it anymore, they're like, what? Who are you? I don't hear you. And then they like really don't. Yeah. So it can infuriate people.
Yeah, I could imagine that. Of all the colors to fight with or whatever, get into a difficult situation with, other than the yellow, because I think it would be the pink.
The pink's just gonna, yeah,
they're gonna win because I think they're gonna win it
just because they're not playing
because they're not gonna play.
They're not playing.
So they've already won.
And they're already won.
And then you're just gonna get more and more. And they're
just and then you're just like fighting with yourself, and then you just hate yourself.
Well, we don't have any difficult auras in the Mystic Michaela spiritual family. No. It's always the other person.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's never your fault.
Right. So what we're gonna do, you put up a post on the page, and we're gonna talk about real life challenging people in your life based on their aura colors. Yeah. We asked you to send in some pictures. I think picture of the person, picture of yourself. Mystic Michaela is gonna read some of those pictures. We can't do them all, obviously, but we're gonna pick some. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, that's what we're gonna do.
My 3 kitties, Dusty, Binks, and Cleo, they're my fur babies. And I want to give them the best food I can. I didn't realize for years that the cat food I was buying had questionable ingredients. Well, this podcast is sponsored by Smalls. If you are a listener of the show, you know that my cat cannot live without their Smalls. To get 35% off plus an additional 50% off your first order, head to smalls.com and use our promo code KYA for a limited time only. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your fridge, and it is delivered right to your door. That's why Cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. Hairballs were the bane of my existence before Smalls. Since making the switch to Smalls, all my cats, way fewer hairballs and a lot more balanced energy. Like I could tell, okay, this is nap time, this is up time, this is down time, and a healthier weight, shinier coat. They just seem happier and healthier overall. And also their breath is a lot better smelling. After switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. So what are you waiting for? Give your cat the food they deserve for a limited time only because you are a Know Your Aura listener. You can get 35% off Smalls plus an additional 50% off your first order by using my code KYA. That's an additional 50% off when you head to smalls.com and use promo code KYA. Again, that's promo code KYA for an additional 50% off your first order plus free shipping at smalls.com. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
So I asked the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family on Facebook to talk about a difficult relationship, a challenging relationship they're having with somebody, and of course include their aura colors if they know them, and to include anonymous photos if they would like. And we got amazing responses, and we'll keep this thread open because I think we can help each other on there too.
Okay.
And we can keep adding to it as well. So the first one I have is Madeline, and she says, and I'll read it. I feel like I have so many of these, but I'm going to talk about a friendship with someone who I had believed we were the friend kind of soulmates because I've been thinking about her a lot lately and whether to step back from the friendship. I don't know her colors. I have some guesses, but I am turquoise purple. We have been friends for over 12 years, and it's mostly been good. The issue, though, is she is a ghoster. She is a people pleaser to the extreme. And when she gets in relationships, she has been known to only focus on them. I've cut her a lot of slack and confronted her on her lack of communication and how it makes me feel. And for short times, it'll change, but eventually go back. As of this moment, I texted her about 2 months ago and have yet to hear back again. And every time this starts to happen again, I start to spiral, hence the why of maybe needing to cut contact. The hardest part is that I still love her. I want to be there for her, and I love her kids, and I want to be there for them. But I also don't know if I can continue this back and forth. It hurts me and my kids. I just want to be a priority. Definitely not the top, but one of them. Anyways, thanks for listening to my rant. And she gave a picture of herself and a picture of her friend. And
okay, so all right, let's call the friend Casper.
Oh, the friend's name is Casper, the Indighost.
The ghost, yeah. Okay, so I mean, I don't know the whole story here. Right. I'm just going to give you
give us your take.
Yeah, just a red logic take is I guess if someone's doing that to me and they're just disappearing like that, I think for me, I'm just going to let them. I'm not going to think about it after that.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, I'm going to probably wonder, hey, am I doing something here? Is there anything I can fix to get them to come back? And then if not, like, I'd reach out probably and then be like, hey, let's talk this thing through.
Yeah, which she has.
Yeah, which she has. Yeah, I'm saying that part is what I would do too.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you do this to me once and then you came back, or if you do it to me twice, I'm done too.
Right.
So I don't know. That's my advice on this. But
yeah.
I mean, it's not really good advice because she really wants this person to be in her life.
Now, here's my aura explain of this. Madeline is turquoise purple.
Okay.
And what I've noticed about turquoise is they love really hard. And sometimes they want things to be something that it's not.
Mm.
And, as a turquoise, she really feels her friend's energy and feels the love and feels the relationship. But sometimes the way you want things isn't the way they're going to happen. When I look at the friend, Casper,
yeah,
she's purple blue to go.
Oh.
She might be indigo, and these pictures she looks very blue to go to me though. And honestly, with her, I feel like a couple things. I feel like it does feel intentional to me. So I get that she does disappear. It's on purpose because she doesn't want to deal with it, own up to it, talk about it. And she doesn't want to upset her friend, by saying, I just need a break, or I can't deal with this, or this is too much for me right now. And also I feel like she is the type of person that she has to put everything into what she's doing now. She can get overwhelmed with other energy. I feel like she can't be like probably a good friend and a good girlfriend or something like that, like in her own mind, which is a problem she has. And I feel like, and the other thing is, I think she's like, it's intentional. So I feel like she's doing it on purpose and she's not going to change.
Does Casper have another color? You said she was blue to go?
Purple.
Okay, so she's like purple indigo.
Yeah.
Or blue. Yeah.
I feel like she knows she's doing it.
Yeah.
Like this isn't just and two things can be true.
Right.
Somebody can be doing this to you and still love you back. But at the same time, and this is just my mom to mom advice for Madeline. Don't expose your kids to that.
All right, and you don't have to answer this question. And this is just for me, maybe it's for some of the greens out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I find this stuff fascinating.
Okay.
And again, my red logic is always trying to figure this out because you don't know Casper. You've never met Casper.
Right.
You're just looking at a picture of Casper. What tells you that she's doing this on purpose? What in her aura tells you that she is doing this on purpose?
So when I look at Casper, her purple is very clear.
Okay.
She's very locked in. And she's very aware of nuances, emotional nuances. It's a vibe with the purple.
Okay.
And then with the blue to go part, I feel like she feels vindicated in her disappearance act and that she doesn't feel the need to explain herself. I also feel like, just looking at little Madeline here, our MMSF friend, I feel like Madeline is very sweet, very understanding, always the type of person like, okay, no problem, like that, and when she does, of course now she's spiraling or whatever, but I feel like her friend, this might be a pattern that has just been going on so long that her friend doesn't even think that this is a bad thing to do to somebody.
Right.
That's just Madeline, like that.
Okay.
And yeah, and like just what I was saying with the kids, like, this is just me. And turquoises like to hear truth. So here's my truth for the turquoise. Don't show your kids that's a love relationship. Like, don't show your kids we put energy in people that don't put energy back. And focus on the people that treat you how you treat them. Like, Madeline feels like a really present friend. So go find other present friends. And I'm sure she has other present friendships. And she said, like, this is happening a lot in her life at this time. Maybe Spirit's trying to clear some people out for her so she can have some present people. If it bothers you, it means you're done with it. That's the other thing. And it doesn't mean, and the other thing with Casper is Casper might be the type of friend who you get together with lunch, lunch every twice a year. Maybe that's Casper's friendship, just because we want Casper to be a soulmate buddy. She can be a soulmate buddy maybe twice a year.
Okay.
Like that kind of thing. And that's it.
Right.
Just redefine the relationship. That's what I would do.
Good advice. Again, I know I've said this many times, but it fascinates me that you could just do that from a picture.
Oh.
All right. And by the way, if you do want to see these pictures, they're on the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family Facebook group. All the pictures are there. Obviously, we're making up the names of the people that are not in the group. And of course, the people that are in the group are always correct.
They're always correct.
All right. Next one.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Okay. The next one, I don't know. I found this one so just, I don't know, funny in a way that's not. Okay. Jorah wrote, okay, so I have a frenemy who is my friend's girlfriend. I have tried so hard to befriend her so my fiance and I can maintain a relationship with our mutual friend that's dating her. We also all work together except my fiance. By the way, Jorah is yellow purple.
Yellow purple.
So everybody should know that.
Okay.
Because she's talking yellow purple too, like real fast.
Did she put in a picture?
She did.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
We're good. All right. So she used to say, back to what Jorah wrote, she used to say really mean things about me behind my back for no reason. And many others, she just does it to everyone, even her own friends. I confronted her about it and she denied it all and said she doesn't know why people start rumors about her. I let it go and told her, I think we could be good friends if it's a he said, she said, didn't get in the way. And she agreed. She later invited us to their house for a get together. And it was the first time we saw them and other friends since we got engaged. Everyone there congratulated us, asked us about our wedding planning, and she didn't say a word. For the last year, there were so many opportunities for her to congratulate us, and she has done other things like text me for advice about her dog, sent me the tattoo she got with the gift card she won at an event I hosted with my dog rescue, but not a single word about our wedding. So it came time to give out save the dates, and I was very conflicted on inviting someone who just couldn't say they were happy for us, but that meant our mutual friend wouldn't come if his girlfriend wasn't invited, so I bit the bullet and did it. Not a word. I had to ask if she got the save the date, and she just replied, I did. So I vented to my mom about it. Her mom and my mom also work for the same company. And she said that she actually mentioned to her in passing how excited she is for her wedding and that it's going to be so fun because I throw the best parties. So she can imagine my wedding will also be great, which I also invited her to my Halloween party. She's so yellow, this girl. That was a murder mystery. Yeah. Gave gift bags to every guest, and it was really fun. And she didn't say thank you. Didn't send a text like everyone else saying it was a great time. Nothing. But apparently raved about it to people at work. I cannot figure out if she's just jealous and doesn't know how to have girlfriends and how to be supportive, or she just genuinely doesn't like me and can't stand her boyfriend coming to events with us there without her. It really bothers me. I just can't let it go.
Okay, so that's a very yellow written post.
Yes, I love all the details.
Very detailed.
Yes.
I would like to go to this Halloween party.
I want to know Jorah and go to all these parties.
Could we go to the wedding?
We are great wedding guests.
Are you close to South Florida? Yes. Is it somewhere I could get to rather quickly? Because if it is, I think I'd like to go. Right. And I will tell you that I had a good time if I had a good time.
We'll take all the goodie bags and this girl's too.
Right.
Oh, wait, what are you naming her?
Oh, well, she named her Frenemy. So we're gonna
Frenemy.
Yeah, she named her for us. So
okay,
that's
Frenemy.
Good. Yeah, she did. Okay. As a good yellow.
Yes.
She did the task.
Okay.
Yeah, for the red. That's perfect yellow. Okay. You do the task for the red. Okay. So, yeah, I don't get this either. I mean, obviously, I don't think this lady. We have a picture of Frenemy.
Yep.
And she's not red, right?
No.
Okay. Because a red would just straightforward tell you, this or that. Mm-hmm. She's basically saying that she's liking everything behind the back, but she won't tell it to her face. Is that what I got out of that whole post?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strange to me.
Yeah. If I told you this, what would you say to me?
If you told me that?
Yeah, I'm like, my friend's girlfriend, and I was going on and on and on.
I would think a jealousy thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say exactly what Jorah said.
Yeah.
I think she's jealous, but that's my own take on it. I don't know if that's correct.
Well, looking at Frenemy, she is yellow purple herself.
Oh,
so I think
we got a lot of yellow going on.
She's trying to make Jorah crazy on purpose.
Okay. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Using her purple as a way of understanding how to trigger Jorah. She is triggering her intentionally.
Wow.
She knows exactly how to look good on paper to everybody. Even mom. She's going up to Jorah's mom. I just can't wait. She's trying to look like good and helpful. She's trying to look like, what are you talking about? I don't know what she's talking about. Trying to make Jorah look like a crazy yellow purple.
Okay. So it's kind of like,
it's going to get worse as the wedding goes on.
So it's kind of like a kid who like when they come in, let's say when you're when you're younger and you have a friend and they come over and your parents greet them at the door and they're really kind and nice to them and polite.
Yeah.
And then the parents think oh my God, that's
a great friend.
Then they run upstairs to see you and they start cursing. And
they're like a jerk.
Jerky.
Yeah. And they're like doing weird things behind your back.
Yeah. Okay.
Like she just wants to look good on paper so it triggers you. Like she knows this is bothering Jorah because these are all things that would bother frenemy, by the way.
Right.
Like if you really care, which you really shouldn't care to get revenge on the situation, you should just move on and ignore this person. But if you cared to get frenemy revenge, you would just be super freaking sweet all the time. And then maybe I conveniently forgot your gift bag. Oops. Or, everybody has a place card at the wedding. Maybe everybody has a place card, but you didn't make one for frenemy.
Right.
It's just not, like when you walk into a wedding and there's everyone's place card, you get your place card.
Yeah.
What if there was no place card for frenemy? This is called psychological yellow-purple torture, people. Okay. Like if you really want to get back at frenemy, just do little crap like that when she complains about to somebody, she sounds insane.
Yeah. And then that last place card says Scotty on it.
And you're there.
Yeah. And they're like, who's
And you're
this?
sitting next to her boyfriend.
And they're like, he even got a place card.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like invite weird people.
Yeah. Like us.
Yeah. We're just trying to get free open bar.
Yeah. Because, I mean, and here's the great question. So you're saying they're both yellow-purple.
Yeah.
And one yellow-purple is playing this game.
Yeah.
But the other yellow-purple has not really played the game yet.
Right.
That's Jorah.
Right.
But she could play the game and go to that level.
Yeah.
But let's say, I don't know, it seems a little petty, right?
Yeah.
So
it's not that hard to forget a name card, though. I mean, that's real easy.
Now you're getting a little purple, too.
Sorry, I just got kind of purple.
Yeah.
I can help you plan this out, Jorah.
Okay.
But but seriously, I feel because it's not,
Yeah.
It's not like mean,
Right.
but it's enough to just drive frenemy insane.
Right.
I feel like with frenemy, she's just probably a little triggered. Jorah sounds like she's great. Don't get me wrong. Jorah sounds like she's got the best party. She's got a probably great house. If you really look at it from the outside, Jorah probably has a beautiful relationship with her fiance. She's getting married. She's got a cute place. Her and her mom probably have a lovely relationship. She's got a great job. If you look at the whole situation, like frenemy's probably looking at this and be like, like jealous and sad. So it's just coming from kind of a sad place. So we can feel bad for frenemy, but at the same time, you don't have to put up with crap. And you can forget her place card.
Okay.
So that's my advice.
Good. Some good purple advice there.
I got petty.
All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll do some more.
Until Beam Kids, I have had a really hard time finding a supplement for kids that not only tastes good, but has all of the vitamins kids need to fuel healthy growth. Because of Beam Kids, my daughters will actually take their supplements and they don't complain one bit about it. Actually, they'll mix it up themselves. That's why I'm so excited to introduce you to Beam Kids All-in-One Super Powder. It just launched and you need to get your hands on it today. It has more than 40 essential ingredients to fuel healthy growth, including greens, pre- and probiotics, fruits, and vitamins. And what's even better, it comes in a chocolate milk flavor kids love. I mean, I love it. It's very tasty. You simply mix 1 scoop of Beam Kids with 8 ounces of milk, shake, stir, or froth, and enjoy, making it a convenient addition to any meal or drink. Beam Kids is now available online at shopbeam.com/KYA. Because you're a listener to my show, you can take advantage of their limited time pricing of up to 35% off plus 2 free gifts using code KYA. Get your Beam Kids and your free gifts by heading over to shopbeam.com/KYA. Enter the code KYA. That's shopbeam.com/KYA and use code KYA for up to 35% off. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
All right. Our next one is from Amanda. So Amanda writes, okay. She writes, I'm a blue to go pink dealing with a difficult inheritance family dynamic right now that's really been going on since my mother passed unexpectedly 3.5 years ago. Or you could even say since my dad passed away a decade ago. My sister was the in-charge sibling of my mom's assets, including a life insurance policy of $1 million. My sister is an education status now urologist, a surgeon. And since my mom passed, she has kept all the money in order to support our brother so she doesn't have to help him out of pocket. Everyone is benefiting from what my mother has left but me, the youngest by 9 years, who lost her dad at 19 and her mother at 25. The amount of lies and gaslighting I've been through my entire life has truly been unmasked since having my 2 toddler daughters and the breaking of the family structure my mother had. My treatment my whole life was the product of not being wanted, even after death, but especially by my siblings. My dad always wanted us to be close because he knew he would pass early in our lives. He was 50 when I was born, but I can't keep up with this when I'm so disregarded by everyone in my former immediate family. The unraveling of my life and extended family has made me feel like Spirit is protecting me to know who to keep close to my life heart in this lifetime. And I found some allies in my family since I have a huge extended family on both sides. And so she would just like some insight. She gave me a picture of herself, her sister, and her dad who passed.
Okay. So, and we're going to call the sister Harvard. We both went to the same school.
She's wearing a Harvard t-shirt.
Yeah, she's wearing a Harvard t-shirt in the picture. And of course, I am a Harvard alum. So,
right.
Yeah, we'll call it that. Okay. So what? All right. Okay. This is interesting. All right. What's Amanda's colors?
Amanda's blue to go pink.
She's blue to go pink.
Yeah.
And what are the sisters' colors?
She's red purple.
She's a red
Harvard's
purple.
red purple.
Okay, so blue to go pink.
Right.
Is dealing with a red purple.
Yeah.
Okay. And the dad, we can get his color?
Dad. Dad looks red blue to me.
He's a red blue.
Yeah. And you could tell he just wanted everyone to get along.
Yeah.
And he didn't want any of this to happen.
Yeah.
And that's his little girl. I mean, I'm getting all this like mediumship stuff towards Amanda. Just, I love you. And you're so special to me. And you're my baby. And you're not cast out by me. And he just, you know, just a lot of love I feel from him. It's very sweet. I think he really tried to hang on towards the end and he couldn't. And it was just sad.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of trauma for Amanda.
That's his little blue to go pink.
That was his baby. And I think she just brought him a lot of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me sad.
And I mean, he probably knew that Harvard was more like him with the red.
Right.
You know, I can even see like it's kind of like me, might even be a little tougher on Harvard than he was on Amanda.
Right.
That's what I'm kind of sensing here.
That's interesting.
Yeah. The red blues sometimes come a little through for me too. Yeah.
This one affecting you?
Yeah.
This one getting to you?
This is like the opposite. I don't want, I feel like this red purple, Harvard, she's a powerful force.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that picture and she looks tough.
Yeah.
And here I got Amanda, the blue to go pink, and she looks like a sweetie,
Yeah.
So,
it's hard. This one's hard for you.
That's a hard one.
I think you're feeling a lot.
I want her to come on and win. I'm rooting for the pink to win here,
right?
To get her whatever the father wanted.
Yeah.
Like I want this to be whatever the dad wanted. That's what I want.
Yeah, because the dad didn't want this. The dad wanted fair.
Yeah, I want it to be fair. Yeah. This has got to be as fair. Maybe he's telling me this.
I think you're getting very.
It's got to be as fair as possible.
Yeah. That's
all I'm going to say.
Well, I feel like, unfortunately, what happens is when we pass and it's not all written out, and we think it's. And I get this all the time in mediumship readings. Like they just want you to know this is not what they had planned.
Right.
And she even says that he wanted us to be close.
Yeah.
And you can feel that, but you can't do it against your own detriment of your own mental health or your family or whatever. Okay, so let me look at Amanda.
All right.
When I look at Amanda, I will say, like, I hope this picture is recent because she's super pink in it.
Yeah.
Like, meaning she feels very strong in herself and like a big self-advocate. And she feels like she is, coming into her own in a lot of ways energetically. It's really hard for pinks because they can be seen as fodder for the family,
right?
Like nothings, like nobodies. Like the pinks can get treated like that a lot. Like, well, you're here to be cute, and that's it. Like she was probably like the baby, and she was little, and she was like, what were they thinking having Amanda? That's honestly what I feel. And again, I don't know these people, and this is my own interpretation, just to be fair. But I feel like a lot with Amanda was the other siblings are like, that was your choice to have Amanda. I'm not giving up my inheritance or my money for this person. You know, like she was just some sort of afterthought baby. That's what it feels like to me. And I wonder if that resonates with her because it's very upsetting and it's a lot to pick up. But that was not how her dad viewed her at all. When I look at her sister, when I look at Harvard, Harvard's tough. Yeah. And I feel like Harvard has zero conscience towards Amanda at all. Like there is just nothing there. I feel like Harvard has a lot going on in her own family and her own life. So I just get a lot of personal trials with some of her own kids. I don't know if she has a son because I'm getting son energy. And I'm getting something with like a lot going on there. And there's, or if she's taking care of the brother, the son energy could be the brother or something. But I'm getting a lot of energy here where Harvard does not give a crap and she's not going to. And I feel like they don't even care if their lies sound ridiculous anymore. They're at the point where they're not even trying to make it look like a plausible lie because they do not care what she thinks. And I wonder if Amanda's just picking up a lot of her dad's intentions and love towards her. And maybe she just needs a little permission from this podcast today to be like, you don't, just because he wanted it that way doesn't mean that's your responsibility to do that. You know, it sucks. And at the end of the day, it's just money.
Yeah.
It's just money and nothing's free, right? So there's an emotional cost to something and then there's a financial cost to something. Sometimes the emotional cost is way too high. I feel like your emotional cost for getting any sort of piece of your inheritance would be way too high and not worth it. It's a bad investment. Walk away from this money and know that your emotional health is upheld and the universe will reward you in all sorts of abundance in different ways. I always say close the door on this kind of crap because it tells the universe like you'll put up with crap for money and I can already tell Amanda's beyond that. She's not doing that.
Okay.
But that's hard. That's really tough, hard.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
But pinks, they can be treated just absolute, just afterthoughts, fodder, like, you know, nothings in the family. Like take the scraps you got. Bye. And in a way it's because, well, you're young and you're cute and, you know, you're fun and you have all these things going. Like, I don't know, like people see pinks as like, you're good. You don't need this and we're not doing anything for you. Like a resentment.
All right. I'll try reading one.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
All right. So Monica writes, I am purple indigo. I left a job last year due to a toxic workplace and a bully boss. She didn't communicate in the best ways and would often speak down to you. Everything I said or did, she would take as a personal attack. I left because the anxiety I felt was too much. I wasn't sleeping and my stomach hurt whenever she was in the office. I know I wasn't the only one because when she was there, work still got done, but the energy was so much better. When she was there, we were very quiet and kept to ourselves. If you made a mistake, she never trusted you. And that's her below. So there's a picture of Monica, and Monica is purple indigo. We confirmed that.
Yeah.
And then we have a picture of the old manager. Oh, that's what we'll call her, the old manager.
Well, that's what she said. Here's a
Yeah.
Here's a pic of my old manager.
Yeah,
right.
So we'll call her old manager.
That's me.
That's funny.
Okay.
All right. And what colors are the old manager?
It's a very bad pic. Like Monica already knows this is a bad pic of my old manager, but like it's enough to see the lady's very yellow, you know?
Okay.
And I would say it sometimes can be different. Like back to the whole I told you so yellow, or, you know, maybe yellow's on a power trip or something. Like she gets off on like she gets off. This is a terrible way to say it, but like she gets her kicks.
Yeah.
She gets her fancies from being probably like school marm in the office, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she's 2 seconds away from wrapping your knuckles with a ruler or something if she could, you know, just getting like, just some people really go after purples, especially like a purple indigo, because Monica's so sensitive and kind and probably also is like, is this right? Is this good? You know, in her head, in herself and unsure. And then this lady's coming in and she like feeds off that. Like when she feels a vulnerability, it does two things. It triggers her because she does not listen to any of her own vulnerabilities. And that's why she's a sad person. But that's the first thing. It triggers her. And then she doesn't like to feel triggered. So she like abuses it. And then she feeds off of it. Like, you know, some people eat energy like that and they have to create it in the workplace so they can keep eating it. And it's kind of creating like I don't know, she feels like a school marm to me. So it feels like a classroom of control, like The Office, where everyone's shaking and everyone's scared and she's just walking around surveying and looking.
Yeah.
And she wants a mistake. She'd love a mistake, you know?
That's awful.
And just treating people like this who are just trying to make a living. And also, I always say this, like, purples will not stay in a job that's like this. Like, it's not your fault you left it. I hope you're really proud of yourself for leaving it. Honestly, this place would have made you seriously ill physically, long-term stuff. Like the anxiety Monica was getting stuff, that's just the precursor to God knows what would have happened. You probably would have developed like physical conditions and whatnot. And that's why we got to love our purple sometimes, because the purple's like, bye, you know. And I'd love to hear how she quit. Yeah. I'd love to hear that.
Well, maybe she did the indigos because she said she's indigo. Oh. She could have just ghosted.
She did the purple bomb indigos.
Purple bomb indigo. Hey, if you can do it, like, you know,
if you can.
If you can do it, that's my advice. I would, and she did do it. So that's the advice I would have given to do it. And that makes perfect sense with the energy of the workplace. I might have told the story before, but before I now go to my Cuban barber. Yes. Who was amazing.
Right.
Doesn't speak English. I don't really speak Spanish too well, but we get by.
You guys energetically understand you need a haircut and he'll do that for you.
Exactly. And
it's not that complicated.
Hey, we're good pals, even though we don't understand what each other is saying. We have conversations. One's in Spanish, I'm doing English, I'm doing my broken Spanish.
Like when you text him, it's so funny. You're like, are you available for a haircut today? And then he'll be like, hola. Yeah. And then you'll be like, do you think he understood me? Yeah. I'm like, I'm sure he can Google Translate that. Like, it's not that hard.
And then I write again. He's like, yes. And I write half in Spanish, half in English.
You're like, buenas tardes. What, 1 p.m., por favor? Or something.
But anyway, but the place I used to go before, when the boss wasn't there. Okay, you know, it was a hair salon.
Yes.
It was a bunch of, I assume everyone there was purple, the hair cutters, the hairdressers.
A lot of hairdressers are purple.
Yeah. So it was like, if the boss wasn't there, you'd go and you get your haircut there. It was fun. Everyone was like yapping away, laughing.
Right.
It was, you know, great energy. The place felt great. Fantastic. And then if I went on a day that the boss was there, it was like the morgue. Yeah. It was like you went in there, you're like, oh my God. Yeah. I didn't want to be there myself. I was just like, okay, can I get out of here? So yes, I understand what Monica is saying about that energy. Yes. When the boss is in or the boss is out. So she was I'm validating her.
Yeah. That's a real thing.
With this point. Yeah. So.
Can you imagine like you're a vibe crusher like that?
Seriously. Gosh. I know. Imagine that. You walk in a room and everyone's like.
And like, you know, and I'll tell you this about people that are vibe crushers, like they know it. They do. They know it about themselves and they truly do hate it about themselves, but they can't change it. So they just like double down.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
All right, quick break. We'll do a couple more.
Never underestimate the value of sleep in your life. On my old mattress, I would wake up with terrible back pain and neck pain. I thought that was just, that's just getting older. That's just life. Well, I've had my Helix mattress for about 4 months now, and that is not me just getting older. And that was not just life. That was a bad mattress. And I sleep so much better now, and you can too. I actually went to helixsleep.com, and they have a mattress quiz you can take. And I took the quiz, and it matched me with the mattress I have today. It is such an investment in the quality of your life, having a good mattress. And you can have an amazing offer and go do this right now. Go to helixsleep.com/KYA for their spring savings event. That's 20% off site-wide. So that's helixsleep.com/KYA for 20% off site-wide, helixsleep.com/KYA. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
Okay, so there were a lot of entries about people's moms. So I picked Nicole, and we'll start here.
One of those entries was me. I put one in about my mom, my red purple mom.
Okay.
I didn't get selected.
Okay. No, all right. So Nicole writes, I don't know my colors, which I'll tell her in a second, or hers, but dying to know about my mom. All right. So I wanted to look at Nicole before we even read it. Nicole, to me, okay, I'd have to see a picture of her as a kid to be 100% sure, but she looks yellow indigo to me. She's wearing green, But her husband is green, so it could be that.
And there's 4 people in the picture,
and there's 4
right?
people in the picture. But she does look yellow indigo to me. Oh, I had to like stalk her Facebook to get this photo too. Okay. She didn't put it in there. So I just kind of like stalk. I just like here.
That usually indicates blue or indigo.
That's true.
That is
Yeah, to cold read that, that's an indigo.
That's a cold read, yeah. If you go to someone's Facebook and there's no picture of them.
It's hard.
And it's just like a sunset.
Or it's just a picture of them like with their family maybe.
Yeah, or something. Yeah. Or a sunset picture.
Right.
Yeah, usually I go blue indigo.
Or their cat or something. Yep. Or their dog. All right, so Nicole, you look yellow indigo. So there you go. And your mom, just because it's talking about mom looks very, very, very blue and a little purple. All right, but here we go. I don't know my colors or okay. So this pic that she put is from Thanksgiving 2023, but we've had minimal contact since. I've always felt she never liked me much because I'm sensitive, quiet, overly tolerant, everything she's not. She has always been an extremely involved and helpful grandparent, but I often feel like it's more so for the feeling of control and recognition. My own daughter always favored me over her, and for that reason, I felt as well that she never treated her equally to the other grandkids. My daughter, with the yellow bow, was diagnosed with leukemia a few weeks after this picture. Oh. My mom, per usual, overinserted herself, tried to dictate who could attend appointments with us, only her, acted like she was the main caregiver, but had no patience when my daughter could not walk or would wet the bed after chemo, lacked compassion. For example, commenting on her weight gain she experienced due to medications, would try to suggest to my husband that I'm emotionally unstable, etc. I had to cut her off after that point. I explained to her why I was hurt, and she sent back a bullet point list of things I'd said, demanding examples, because she states they were all lies. We've been minimal to no contact since, and she's been extra helpful toxic, leaving passive-aggressive notes if we miss events, dropping the kids' Christmas gifts in the garage while we were home. The gifts were nothing like what my nieces and nephews received. My sisters still say, I just need to talk to her, despite me being the one to attempt to do so multiple times. She has experienced so much trauma in her life. I wish I had a picture of her as a kid to compare. She was the kid who'd paint murals on the walls and bring home stray pets every day. I'm so curious what is going on with her that leads her to be how she is. It's a very sad situation.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, oh God. I mean, I have a difficult relationship with my mom. And, yeah, this one.
Too close to home?
Too close to home.
Okay. This is what I think. First of all, I have to give a pep talk here to Nicole.
Okay.
You don't need reasons ever. Like if you don't, so Nicole's indigo. And I feel like with Nicole, you know, if it's taking away from your mothering, then it's not happening for you. Like then you have to go minimal contact. I just need to give her because your kid is sick. Your kid needs you and your kid needs a full version of you. And if your mom's taking away from that, or if anybody's taking away from that, they can't be around right now. I'm sorry. Because your number one priority is to your daughter and the rest of your family, you know, your other child and your husband, and that's it. So I just need to give her a little indigo pep talk because it's really, really hard because her mom is probably needing that nurturing for herself in life and is triggered that her daughter and her granddaughter, because she says her granddaughter favors her mom over her grandma. It's okay. That's her mother. You know, normal moms are okay with that.
Right.
Okay, by the way, your job isn't to make your mom feel nurtured, and your kid's job isn't to make your mom feel nurtured. But that's really hard to understand when you've had a mom that has gone through so much trauma and is so in need of her family to fill a hole that she never filled herself. And that's not your job. But when you're indigo, you can feel that in your mom. You can feel the wound. You can feel that little broken girl in there. When I look at mom, I do see that little broken purple girl. I mean, I get it. Like, I feel terrible for this woman. I mean, she wants to be necessary. You know, she wants to be needed. She wants to be seen. She wants to be validated. Unfortunately, I feel like as a coping mechanism, it was the people around her who were, you know, going to be the ones to do that instead of her doing it for herself. And, you know, and mom's very victim blue. So there's just, anything that goes on is going to be about her. So I mean, your kid has leukemia, it's not about you.
Right.
It makes everyone sad, but I can see with somebody who's so victim blue like mom here, it's possible that she's like, oh my God, it's taking away from me, or I need to do more, or how am I necessary, or where's my role? Like she could be spiraling because it's not about her. When in the past it was like she could call more shots and she was like the center of attention in terms of, look, I made dinner for everybody, or look, I had Christmas, or look, I did this. So like the center of attention has been moved. And also on paper, everyone who's normal in mom's life is going to be like, oh my gosh, your granddaughter. Well, of course you have to do what, you got to do your daughter says, whatever your daughter says, whatever they want. So everybody else is going to go against her victim blue narrative a lot. So she's probably like turning to the family, like your sisters, to isolate you and make you feel like the crazy person. Because remember, your sisters are just also trying to get mom's love. So they're like, oh, well, the finger's not pointed at me. Hey, you better talk to her. You can make it better with mom, because they're not going to sacrifice their relationship with mom because they still have their mommy issues too. So
Right.
Anyway, so it's a lot of victim blue and an indigo kid dealing with their victim blue mom. And like when you strip down all the crap, it's just people who want love. That's it. Like when it's not like horrible, sick, twisted, nasty people. It's amazing how we can create these narratives and make people suffer just because we never, sought out therapy or some sort of help for ourselves. In mom's case, that's what happened. And anyways.
Yeah.
So I hope that makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
And I hope she hears that and gets that. I know she already knows this because already did it, but it's okay that you're minimal contact right now because you got to be there for your kid.
Okay. I think that's great. Fantastic advice.
Poor baby.
All right. Last one here is Tia. I'll read this one. Okay. And do we have a picture of Tia before we start? Not sure if all right, we'll get her colors in a second. Okay. All right. I have a challenging relationship with my dad. I love him, but it's hard for me to get along with him, and he hasn't been very nice in the past. When we go somewhere and socialize with people or with his family, he acts all nice and friendly. But towards myself, my sisters, and my mom, he can be a jerk and controlling. Often complains if the house is a mess or if things don't go his way. He has been there for me when I need a ride somewhere or if I need help with my homework, but I can never know what kind of mood he's in. All right. Tia says she is purple, green, and turquoise. Like a greenquoise, maybe?
Yeah, purple greenquoise.
Okay. I suspect he's a Christmas tree guy, and maybe he's a chameleon.
Okay.
All right. And we do have a picture of, we'll call him Dad.
Yeah.
All right. What is Dad's colors?
So Dad, I just see very green.
Very green.
And blue. And this one's kind of easy for me.
Okay.
Just because he's just like a child, man. I don't know what else to say.
Okay.
It's like your dad is like an 8-year-old boy who somehow, obviously he's older now,
right.
But he's still got to me, the mindset of, I want it done this way. And he figured out how to make a life and choose people. He chose a wife and other people that deal with his crap, and he programmed you to deal with it. And now you're not, and now you're like, actually, no, grow up, child dad, like grow past 8 years old inside of yourself. Like not everybody's going to do everything bend over backwards to make sure you're happy and you don't have a flippin' temper tantrum. So to me, and that's like a vibe I get from his energy. He's very green. And I feel like if he thinks something's funny, it's funny. And I can see
Okay.
if he wants to do something, that's what we're doing. And if he doesn't like how something is, which always, to me, it feels like he's very detail oriented, like he can have like a temper tantrum, like a child, like that. Like you used the wrong type of pasta, or like little things like a kid would do. And he needs like a mother in a lot of ways to be like, say sorry, go into your room until you come back and say it nicer.
Right.
Like he needs somebody to kind of mother him or parent him. And I think because Tia, being the lovely green koi she is, plus the purple, she's seeing this in him.
Right.
And
now she's thinking he's chameleon because, and we'll answer that question in a second. Is he chameleon green? Because she's saying in public he's all friendly, putting on the act, and then when they're in private, he's mean to them and controlling. So would that be chameleon or no?
I mean, I don't see that on him.
Right.
To me, I think he's just aware. And that means that he's aware of his actions.
Right.
Like if he was a jerk outside the house too, I'd be like, well, Dad's just a jerk. That's just him. And that's his personality. But the fact that he's changing it makes it worse. It means that he's saving it all up. You know, like when kids go to school and they're all good, and then they come home and they're like a jerk to you.
Yeah.
And then like you talk to the teacher, you're like, oh, is my kid good? They're so great. They're so polite.
Mm-hmm.
They're so kind. And then they come home and you're like, wow, like, holy crap, really? At least they're good at school. You know, like that. That's what dad feels like to me.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just chosen people in his immediate life to put up with his stuff and keep his green regimen going.
Right.
So that he doesn't have to change up anything and he can stay in his little green-blue box.
I mean, that must drive Tia insane.
Yes.
When they're all in public and he's like, great. And everyone's like looking at him like, oh, he's the best dad. He's so funny, telling his dad jokes.
Yeah.
And then he, you get in the car or whatever. And he's just like nasty. Is that kind of like what?
Yeah. And looking at Tia, like she looks so like the purple green coins they crack, like you can't, purple green coins are such a vibe.
Yeah.
Because they can do it all. They can like out-logic you. They can reflect and mirror you and pick up all your crap you don't want to know and say it back to you. And they're purple, so they can really push a button. And I can see with Tia, like she's probably used to be more scared of being a bit of a scapegoat. But maybe not so much anymore. So she might be like trying to just have these conversations with him or trigger him a little bit or talk to mom or like whatever. And I can see her also, I get what she's trying to say. Like he's there if I need a ride or to help with my homework. That's the green to the green. That's green to green stuff. It's like, okay, he shows his love in actions. You know, I think he's just, to simplify it, he just feels like a man boy is what he feels like to me.
Right. So. Well, this is a lot of fun, but I've also been having problems with difficult, we'll call them beings.
Okay.
And there's 3 of them in my life that I'm finding very difficult.
Yeah.
We'll name them Dusty, Binks, and we'll just call the other one New Cat.
It's Cleo.
Okay, well, New Cat. Well, remember we're coming up with names today.
Oh, right.
So we'll call her New Cat. New Cat.
Okay.
So those are the 3 difficult things that I'm dealing with in my life. Yeah, the cats. So what do you recommend as a red dealing with Binks, who's our purple? What is it? Yeah. Dusty, who is our, what did we say he was?
Like green turquoise?
Green turquoise, green blue. And the New Cat, I don't even know if she has a color.
I would say she's like purple yellow.
Yeah, she's definitely yellow. Yeah, she's definitely
very
yellow.
Clean.
Very clean, very yellow. Very yellow. Yeah, I agree with that. So what's your advice for me dealing with these 3 cats?
That, you mumble to yourself, you call them freeloaders.
Right.
Especially if they're sitting and they're just lounging and living their kitty lives or you complain about them just being here. I don't know what to tell you. I guess you're just out of control and that bothers your red.
It does, yeah. That's probably what it is.
All right. We want to know if this is the type of episode you like.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm truly, I hope people are as fascinated by it as I am when you read these people just from pictures and get all this information from pictures. And of course, you're putting yourself out there because who knows, is it right or wrong, right?
Right.
So it really, to me, it's just incredible. I hope everyone else feels that way. I mean, I'm biased, but to me, it's just to me, it's amazing.
Well, I think it's a different perspective in which to have a discussion.
Yeah.
A lot of us have difficult relationships. When you kind of talk about it in aura color, maybe it can help provide a little insight or direction or perspective.
Yeah.
But if you like this kind of episode,
we'd love to do more of these.
I'd love to do more of these. These are fun. And you can keep, it's on a featured tab on the Facebook page. You can keep adding to it and feel free to give each other advice or help each other out. Yeah. If you're open to that in the thread, because it's MMSF gives the best advice. And remember, it's never your fault.
Right. Every single member, especially Amanda, was 100% correct.
You're all correct.
All correct. Everyone was correct.
So funny. All right. This podcast is for you and about you, and we're so glad you spent some time with us today.
Running a business can be exhausting. Building your website shouldn't be. With Wix, you can express your ideas, give direction, then leave the heavy lifting to AI. From site creation to branded content and images. Have fun with the details. Customize what you want the way you want. and manage your whole business from a centralized dashboard with expert AI tools. Build, scale, and enjoy the incredible results. You can do it all yourself on Wix.